My name's Kevin. I'm a web designer here in Fort Worth, Texas, and today I want to show you how I'd fix this real roofing website that I found online. So the reason I chose this website in particular is that it is almost there. It's a pretty good design and they've got a lot right, but there's just a few things that are very wrong that I think are costing them a lot of conversions. Okay, so the first mistake, if I have any experienced web designers in this video watching right now, you probably already know what I'm going to say, but it is these 3 buttons right here. So not even that, not only the 3 buttons, but you've got 3 buttons here, 1 button here, and a quote form or a request service form. So immediately when a customer lands on this website, they are met with a million different options, right? There's 5 different things that they can click on, or 5 different things that this website is emphasizing that they should click on, and therefore the customer is not going to click on anything. If you give them a choice, they're not going to click on anything. They're going to leave. What I would do first of all is just get rid of all of these other call to action buttons and have one singular button in the hero section that takes the customer or the prospect to your most desirable action, whatever that is. If they want to, if you want them to call you, if you want them to fill out a form, whatever that may be, you need one. Okay, so scrolling down the page here, the next mistake that this roofing company is making is the overuse of stock photos. So it's okay to use stock photos every now and then on your website, but what you have to understand is that prospects that land on your website, they want to feel authenticity from your company. They want to feel like they can relate to your company and like they can trust your company. And the best way to do that is to have real, authentic photos of you, your team, and your service on your website. It's nice to have perfectly composed and perfectly shot stock imagery, and you can use that strategically throughout your website. But if those are the only photos that you have, and as far as I can tell, every single photo on this page is stock, then that creates an air of mistrust between your website and the prospect. Because if they don't know anything about the faces behind this company, they're not going to feel comfortable hiring you. So just replace a few of these stock photos with real pictures of your team, your employees wearing company shirts, company vehicles, your yard signs that you leave out, anything like that, anything that's real, authentic, and is actually your company. Okay, so scrolling down to the bottom of the page here, the third and final design decision that is costing this roofing company leads, and this is a big one, is their customer testimonials section. Right down here at the very bottom of the website, right above the footer, they have, I think they have 2, Thelma and Cliff. 2 testimonials total on this whole page. And this seems like a pretty big company. I haven't looked at their Google business profile, but I imagine they have more than just 2 reviews. So what I would highly recommend is to remove this customer testimonial section, get rid of it, and instead take these reviews that you have and distribute them throughout the entire page. When you have all of your reviews shoved into one tiny section at the bottom, especially in a carousel format like this, it gives the impression that you don't have that many testimonials, right? Because they're all contained in one section. And like we said earlier, people skim websites. They don't really read them start to finish. So what you need to do in order to give the impression that you have a ton of customers that are very satisfied with your business is you want to sprinkle your positive reviews throughout the page as the user scrolls down. Okay, so transitioning away from the design of this website, we're going to talk about the technical side and the page loading speed and how that is having an effect on their conversion rates. So to check your page loading speed, I'm using Google Chrome here. You just have to hit F12 on your keyboard, and that's going to bring up the developer tools. And you can use Lighthouse over here, just run a Lighthouse test, and that's an easy way to do it. What I like to do personally is to go to the network tab, and then you click disable cache right here, and then you can click the slow 4G. Okay, the slow 4G is a good benchmark. If you can get your website to load in under 3 seconds or so on slow 4G, that's pretty good. So all you have to do is select that, and then you click over to the performance tab, and you click this little refresh icon right here, and then you just let the site load. It'll give you a really in-depth breakdown of all of the elements on your website and how quickly it loads. Okay, so when the test finishes running, you're gonna be met with all these like random colors and stuff in this panel. If you don't know what you're looking at, that's totally fine. All we're focused on is, you see down here, these boxes. So you've got a box and then a big green line that goes all the way up. So this FCP is your first contentful paint. So this is essentially when the first visible thing loads on your website. And this website is loading in 6.87 seconds, the first contentful paint. The largest contentful paint is when the biggest element on your website finishes rendering. And this website is at 16.3 seconds. So that's pretty lengthy. That's pretty long. We've got some work to do on the page loading speed. Okay, so we know that this website is loading slower than we would like it to, but how do we actually improve that performance? How do we actually make it load faster? Well, I have a 3-step process that is guaranteed to work for pretty much any website out there, and I have it laid out for you here. So number 1 is just to simply get better web hosting. So your web host, that's the server that your website lives on. That's what people connect to when they type in your domain name. And if you're paying for very cheap, very bottom of the barrel hosting, your website's never going to be fast because it's just limited by the hosting itself. So I would avoid shared hosting plans. I would instead opt for a VPS or a dedicated server web hosting, depending on your budget and what you can afford. If you have no idea what I'm talking about or what these terms mean, well, you can just take a look at your bill that you pay for web hosting. And if it comes out to anything less than, say, $25 a month, then you're probably paying for really slow, really ineffective hosting. So if you need assistance with this, just contact any reputable web hosting company and ask to chat with the sales rep, and they will walk you through exactly what you need for higher quality hosting, and just try and pay something above $25 a month. Number 2 is to reduce the size of images on your website. This is one of the biggest problems that most people have that slows their website down. They pull out their iPhone 16 and they snap a picture and they just upload that picture straight to their website. Little do they know that picture is like 3 megabytes. It's huge. It's 4K resolution. It's just a massive image, and it slows down their website like crazy. So how you can check to see if your images are too big is you can go back to Google Chrome here. We're in the performance tab. Just click over to the left to the network tab, and this will show you a list of every element that loads on your website. And then it actually shows you the sizes of all of these elements. So you just double click the size drop down here until the arrow points down, and then that will be the largest element on your site will be at the top, and then it will be descending by size. So if these are saying, MB, in other words, megabytes here, then you definitely need to reduce the size of your images. This website isn't too bad. A lot of their images are kilobytes, 200 kilobytes. I recommend you try to get your images under 150 kilobytes. That's kind of my benchmark, but 220 isn't really that bad. So that's not a huge issue on this website, but you should definitely check your site to see if your images are massive, because that's a big problem that a lot of people have. And how to fix that, you can just download the images and then resize them and then re-upload them back to your website. You can do it in Microsoft Paint, reduce the size by 25 to 75%, or you can convert the images to .webp format. There's tons of WordPress plugins that do this for you, or you can use the script that's provided by Google. If you really want to get technical with it, you can do it that way. I do it that way, but I'm a nerd, so And the third way to speed up your website is just to remove anything that is unnecessary. So another thing you can do in this network tab here is to look, this is everything that loads, every single item that is loading every time your website loads. And the less of these that you have, the faster your website is going to render for people. Okay, so we've looked at the design of this website, we've looked at the page loading speed, and we know that both of those things are having a big impact on the conversion rate that this company is receiving. And the last thing we're going to check out is the on-page SEO of this website. We're going to see how they're doing in terms of their title tags, their headings, etc., etc. So first of all, with your primary heading here, which is one of the most important text on your page for SEO, no one is searching for roofing experts. No one searches that. So what you want here is the term that someone is actually going to type into their phone. Roofers or roofing company, maybe. Not roofing experts. No one searches that. So you want to make sure that whatever is in your heading, your H1, is the thing that people are actually typing into Google. So using the SEO Pro extension here on Chrome, you can actually see the title and the meta description of this page as well. And you can see here that their title tag does not contain their location or their primary service. So I would just remove all of this professional roof install, repair, gutters, plus remove all that and just say Tidewater Roofing hyphen Roofing Company, Virginia, and leave it at that. And because that right there, Roofing Company, Virginia, that's again what people are actually typing into their phones to find your service. And the next SEO mistake that this company is making, it's a pretty big one. They have multiple H1s on this page, and this H1 is just blank. I don't even know where this is. I could find it if I wanted to, but yeah, so they just have a blank H1 somewhere, which needs to be deleted. And you only want to have one singular H1 on your page. If you have more than one H1, you're confusing Google. You're giving a weird impression about the main concept, the main idea of your page. So one H1, and ideally, if you're a local business, it should be your primary service plus your location. In addition to that, you can kind of go through and just read these other headings that they're using here. Let us show you the Tidewater difference, a record of success, 40 years in business, 38,000 roofing projects. You can see that they're not really utilizing keywords in their headings enough. They should be using more keywords in their headings. You don't want to have every single heading be a keyword, but you want more than this. So I would remove a good amount of these headings and replace them with variations on your primary keyword. So this is where you could do things like roofing experts, or you could do roofing company near me or near you. You could throw in a little bit of variation. Don't just copy paste the same exact term over and over again, but definitely utilize your headings for keywords. Okay, and the last SEO mistake that this roofing company is making is they have empty alt text on a lot of their images here. So the main images that they're using, the stock photos they're using to describe their services, they don't have any alt text associated with them, and that means they probably don't have captions or anything like that either. So I would come through here and again, add those keywords to your alt text. You want to try and match the keyword to the image as much as you possibly can, but I would prioritize the keyword over the match. So again, just come through here, add some keywords to the alt text, and that will help your SEO out a lot. Okay, so now it's like an hour later, and I spent some time just kind of creating a quick mock-up of what I would do to improve this website. And as you can see here, the changes I've made are everything that I said. So I reduced the amount of call to actions on the page down to just one big bright red button so that people don't get confused when they come to the website. They know exactly what they're supposed to click on. I added in the keyword roofing company into their primary heading tag here. So that's just an SEO benefit. And I just cleaned up the header a little bit and made it a little bit more organized and not so cluttered. And you can see here at the very top, you still have room to add your other forms of contact that you want to have on the homepage, right? You want to have your phone numbers if you have multiple phone numbers, or your address or anything like that, your email address. And there are ways to include those in the homepage without making them competing with your primary call to action. So I've put them in the top little micro header at the very top here. And then as we scroll down here, I just went quickly to this company's Facebook page. And as it turns out, they have a ton of really great professional photos of their actual employees. And I was like, man, why are these not on the website? So I just quickly downloaded them, added them here, and you can see the effect that this has. It's actually the company's employees, and this instantly is more trustworthy than stock photos. So on the right, I just have a little gallery of 3 photos, 2 of some employees, and then one of presumably the owner or something talking to some customers. They even have customers smiling and talking to the owner, which is awesome. That's great. And on the left-hand side here, you can see I reduced the amount of text that was in this section. You can see here, there's like this kind of big paragraph, or there's 3 paragraphs really of text here. And all I did is I reduced that just a bit by putting just 2 paragraphs and then a nice bulleted list. And I also included, this is more so, I probably wouldn't do this in this section exactly like this, but more so as an example to show you for this video that you can include little snippets of testimonials throughout the website in little boxes like this. And that just is a little reinforcer to say, hey, there are a lot of people who use our business and are very satisfied with it. And you can just include little snippets of testimonials throughout the page in situations like this. And this company, as it turns out, they have a ton of actual reviews on Google. They have like 140 something reviews. So all I did is just take some screenshots of a bunch of their little Google reviews, and I pasted them here in like this. I probably, I would probably polish this a little bit more on the actual website, if I was developing this website. But that just goes to show you that this company has 140 reviews, but they only have 2 on their homepage of their real website. So if they would just display more of those reviews and really showcase that they have a big amount of reviews, then that would really go a long way towards convincing prospects that they should reach out. That is how I chose to redesign this website. And just one more time, I can show you the before. So here is the before of the actual production site, and then here is the after. It's just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more organized, and I think this will do wonders for the conversion rate on this website. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know, leave a comment. Would you have done anything differently to the design here? Would you have changed something in a way that I didn't? Did I completely ruin this design? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts.